The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys!
This is Cowboys Storylines with Nick Eatman.
All right, it's time for Cowboys Storyline. I'm Nick Eatman, and let's get it rolling here on this Wednesday, October the 11th here at the Star. Of course, I say it's Wednesday, these weird weeks where they have a Monday night game, they're going to try to tell you it's not a Wednesday. I don't even know what today really is. It's kind of the bonus day. Wednesday is kind of the bonus day for them. They'll start tomorrow will be like a Wednesday and then a Thursday and then so on, getting into Monday night, which, in their mind, they try to keep it on schedule. So this is sort of your extra day that they'll come in, and I know they're going to review the tape today. Mike McCarthy was really adamant about in the post-game press conference after the game about his views on burning the tape or watching it, and he let it be known that now he watches the tape. He thinks it's BS, to paraphrase, that for people that say we don't watch the tape, we just burn it and we move on. No, he thinks there's things they can learn from it, and I agree with that. I mean, I always think everything's a learning experience, and and when you go back and look at that game, everyone always says is it never as bad as it seems, or it's never as good as it seems too, and I agree with that, and I think if they lined up and played again, tomorrow, I still think the 49ers are way better than the Cowboys. Not 42-10 better. These games always take on a life of its own, and I say that, and I said it the other day, the Giants, it won't be that bad when they play again. It could be a lot closer. So that's just the way that things go, and I think that you can learn from the tape, look at it and go, hey, this, these plays right here could have changed everything. I think a penalty on Donovan Wilson over the middle on McCaffrey on third down, the helmet to helmet was a bang play. I absolutely hate the rule. McCaffrey's not going to be in the NBA. Okay, McCaffrey's 5'9", 10. Who's not hitting him in the head? That's just kind of the way that it goes. That's what people bump heads in every daycare in America. That's what happens. That's why you wear helmets. And so I think that was a really unfortunate call. Now, does it change the whole game? Maybe. Just from the standpoint of momentum is now swinging. The Cowboys could get a stop, get off the field. Maybe they can go tie the game. Obviously, it didn't happen. I'm just saying that if you're looking at it and going, wow, we're this far behind the best team in the league, I think you can look at it and say, a couple plays here and there, and a lot of things are different. But that being said, the Cowboys are going to have to go and prove it, this week against the Chargers, and a game that I think is one of the biggest ones of the season, probably the biggest game. This could really be the most telling game of the entire year. All right, we'll get into the questions here. We got the calls, 188-855-2297. You can send text messages as well. You know the number. Hopefully you do. It's not. My paper's not up here. But anyways, we got somebody that has already been sending some text messages, so we've got that. Let's go to the calls, though. Let's start this thing off in San Antonio with Al. Al, you're first up here on the Storyline.
How you doing, Nick?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Hey, man, I love your show.
Thank you. Appreciate
yes, I really
that.
do. Hey, but I've been a fan since 1965.
All right.
And I tell you, bro, I don't know, how you feel when you break up with a woman. That's the way I feel when Cowboys lose. But I think they're going to come back. I know everybody's down on Dak, but I think he's going to bring us through.
Yeah.
We just got to keep the faith and keep praying.
That's a tough analogy there because, the difference is, and it's not always the case, is that, if you have a breakup with someone, they don't just come back every Sunday. Sometimes they do. And sometimes, that's a whole other story right there. But I'm just saying the best and the worst thing about being a fan is that you get to pick up and do it all over again. Sometimes you don't want to. Sometimes you're just like, oh, man. But that's what I love about it. It's just the cycle. It's the Monday morning, I'm burning all my Cowboy stuff. Tuesday, I can't do this anymore. Dak, I just can't. I can't defend you anymore. Wednesday, it's like, I don't care. Thursday, well, what time's the game? Friday is, you know what? You know what? We might have a chance. Saturday is like, you know what? I feel good about this. And Sunday, where's my eye black? And where's my gear? And I'm going to win. That's the cycle of football. I love it and hate it all at the same time.
Yeah. I think they're going to come back. And, Jack will go out and have a good game Monday night, and everybody will love them again.
Yeah.
But,
not everybody, but some people will. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I enjoy your show.
Thank you.
And I'll talk with you later.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that. All right, good call. We'll stick down in there in the southern Texas area. Darian in Houston, you're next up. San Antonio to Houston.
Hey, what's going on, Nick?
What's up, man? How are you?
Hey, man, doing all right today. Man, I'm ready to turn the page this week on the Cowboys.
Yep.
For one main reason, it's now Chargers week. It's not cry about the 49ers week. And
as I started off the show talking about a play that could have changed the game. No, I get it. Let's go. Let's turn the page.
Actually, I didn't hear the first part of the show. I have to go back and listen.
Nah, it's fine.
But didn't mean to take a shot at you.
No. I mean, I agree. It is turning the page. And what I'm trying to say by turning the page is, you know what? It's not as bad as you think. Yeah, that was a terrible game. It was one loss. But every game you could do things a little bit better. You can learn from it. Is basically what I'm saying. They're going to evaluate the tape and learn from it. There's things you can learn from, even though it was a very one-sided finish.
No, I'm hurting from this Sunday, and I'd rather just forget it.
Mm-hmm.
And another reason I'm ready to look ahead is because I'm flying to L.A. Monday morning for the game.
All right.
And I know that's as close as it gets to a home game out there anywhere on the road. But any pro tips about SoFi Stadium that you have, or if you have a first, away game story from when you went, maybe as a fan or as a reporter, that would be cool.
Okay.
And then also just like looking ahead, this Chargers team's playing pretty well. The Chargers receivers all have receptions that have gone for over 40 yards, and we know Herbert has a big arm.
Yeah.
Our defense has to be stout. Injury-wise, though, they lost Mike Williams for a couple weeks. He's on IR. I believe he's their number 2 receiver. And then Austin Eckler, the running back, missed 2 weeks ago with an ankle injury. But I don't know if you saw this. He said he was 99% sure he would play this Monday night against the Cowboys. I don't know how they come up with these percentages.
Oh yeah. Well, he was. Thanks for the call, Darian. It's a lot of good stuff there. He was doubtful. He was questionable going into the last game against the Raiders. Then he was doubtful, and then he did not play. But that was before the bye week. So that was the Raiders game. Then they had a bye week. So he was close to playing the Raiders game. I think the same could be said for Joey Bosa. Is that the Bosa they got this week? Joey Bosa, yeah. And he missed the last game. Of course, Khalil Mack on the other side and only got 6 sacks in the game against the Raiders. So now they're going to get Bosa and Khalil Mack. And then, of course, like you said, Austin Eckler. Yeah, you're right about they throw the ball down the field. And here's another part of that. To get down the field, you have to hold it for a second. You have to hold the ball. You have to wait just a little bit and then get the guys down the field. That's kind of what the Cowboys want you to do as well. They want you to be holding it so they can get their pass rush home. So you can't have it both ways. The 49ers like to get the ball out quick, and they had some plays down the field too, intermediate throws. But to throw it down the field, you do have to trust your blocking and hold it, and that's where the Cowboys will try to capitalize as well. You asked about road games, road game stories for me. I mean, really, my first road game ever in the regular season was the 99 game at Washington. I've talked about that before, and I basically will just say that's my favorite game just because it was the first one on the road. For me, they were down 21 in the fourth quarter, came back, won it. And, it was that time where I was really young, and it was the end of the 90s, but the early part of the 90s, I was in high school. I was a fan. So to be able to see on the sideline Aikman to Irvin and Emmitt Smith scoring and Rocket Ismail with a touchdown, I mean, it was a pretty cool game right there. And so that will always be my favorite game, I think, until something better comes along, but we'll see if that happens.
He wanted your pro tip for SoFi Stadium.
Oh, tips for SoFi?
Yeah, or SoFi memory.
Well,
I know what your SoFi memory is.
I got a memory of SoFi. I mean, I was sitting in a suite by myself, and like the owner's suite in 2020. It was the first game of the season. I got to travel, And I'm sitting there, and it was the most eerie thing ever. I mean, this brand new stadium sounded like a Wednesday night JV football game where all you hear is like the echo from the other sideline. I mean, it was unbelievable. Just being there, just how weird it was. No fans. First game of the season. I dropped my phone. I look, get it, and I just hear the announcer say 37-yard pass to CD Lamb, and you're like, what? I mean, usually you hear crowd and all that. That was just a really weird experience there, and it was the first game for SoFi Stadium. So that's the one. That's the one I remember from SoFi. I've played there a lot, though. I mean, this will be the fourth time we've played at SoFi. It's a brand new stadium. Still seems brand new. It's very beautiful. I mean, it's got a lot of AT&T Stadium feel, but in a California kind of style, which is fitting because it's in LA. All right, let's get a text question from Doug in Florida. He says, what are your top 3 concerns for Monday? His are secondary versus their receivers, offensive line versus Bosa and Mack, and scoring touchdowns in the red zone. You know what? I mean, I don't know if I've gone that far to rank them. I don't know if I ever do that, just ranking the concerns. But these sound pretty good. I mean, the Herbert and this offense can definitely hurt you in different ways. Down the field, they test you. So I think that's a really good one. The offensive line, I mean, to have Bosa and Mack, two pass rushers on the outside. Now, they've had some success running the ball as well. That's what they're going to need to do is really run the football and get more balanced. They did a really nice job last year against the 2 years ago, against the Chargers. They ran right at Bosa. That was the game Terrence Steele was starting for his first time at the right tackle, I believe, for La'el Collins was suspended. And what's Terrence Steele going to do? And he had a great game. And he really took it, too. You saw the physicalness for him. So let's see if they could maybe get more balanced to run the ball. And then, of course, if they could do that, scoring in the touchdowns at the red zone would definitely help. All right, back to the phones. Let's go Troy in Virginia Beach. Troy, what's up?
Nick. Hey, what's up, Nick? Good to talk to you, man.
You too, man. How are you doing?
Good to be on. I'm doing great. Hey, I wanted to chime in. I think Steve said it yesterday just on how, long of a season it really is, how the roller coaster ride goes ups and downs. Just takes one bad ball to change the season or, get to the big dance. But, I just want to say that, so keep your hopes up, Cowboys fans. And also a question. So Dak hurt his hand Sunday. Do you think that played into a factor? No one's really talking about that. I think when I saw it on TV, it looked swollen. So yeah, I mean,
I think so. I mean, I think it doesn't help. I mean, I'm sure it doesn't. It's not the reason that they lost or whatever. I think that they were having a lot of problems beforehand. As he pointed out, he threw a touchdown afterwards. It was one of his best throws of the night. So,
right,
he was still throwing the ball around. It probably wasn't comfortable for him. It might have been worse, especially with swelling. It might have been worse the next day. So it's something to monitor, but I haven't heard that it's that big of an issue.
True. Okay, cool, man. Just want to throw that in there. And, keep up the good work, man. Love the show.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Troy. Looks like he's at work or something like that. So here's some buttons going, maybe in his car. It says he's I guess Chris just let me know, UPS driver, listens to you on the show. So he was, was probably typing in GPS or something like that. Cool. All right, love it. I love it, man. That's it's so awesome. And I didn't say this the other day, but man, one of the coolest moments we've had here is when the guy from North Carolina, maybe Josh was his name, from North Carolina, the teacher called in the middle of class. That was pretty neat there. But yeah, it's always good to hear from new people as well. All right, let's go to the next phone line. Call Andrew in Colorado Springs. Andrew, what's up?
Hey, good morning, Nick. How you doing, man?
Good morning. How are you?
Good, thanks. Hey, so you mentioned it a couple calls before this. I completely agree. We got to get back to the run.
Mm-hmm.
They mentioned it on the show this morning too. It's Talking Cowboys. Is that we're the 9th rated team for running. And then it obviously begs the question in hindsight, why did we get away from it against San Francisco? The game got a little out of hand, and all that. But we got to do what our strength is, and that's run the ball because we're all healthy up front with the offensive line right now too. So And I think in turn, what's the best thing that Dak does? Play action, right? And that's CD over the top. That's
Right.
Cooks over the top, whatever. So
You got to run it. Yeah, you're right. You can't do play action if you're not running it. So,
Exactly.
you're right.
Yeah, and then just a quick thing. I was at the Cowboys-Chargers game in 2021 at SoFi, that game that Micah basically established himself as a pass rusher, with that long sack against Herbert and all that. I'm hoping, I'm not going to call it, but I'm hoping that he kind of reverts back to what we thought he was, an off-ball linebacker.
Right.
Now that we need him in that regard. And still able to rush a passer in instances, but also your thoughts on Rashaan Evans. He's coming in this morning with the team, so I'll hang up. Thanks, man.
Yeah. Thanks for the call. I don't know much about Rashaan Evans. Again, I'd kind of heard that just a few minutes before the show started, so I haven't really kind of looked that up. I know it's a former first-round pick from what I hear. You guys probably know more than me about that. I heard it and just kind of got prepared for the show. Obviously anybody that can come in and help at the position. I mean, I know that this team loves former first-round picks, just kind of hoping that maybe, whatever that they did to kind of, show out on tape and get drafted, those attributes, those skills can still be, dusted off a little bit and used here. They have at one point this year, they had 13 first-round picks on the roster or practice squad. So that's, this could add to the list. Now, he would be replacing Leighton Vander Esch, who's expected to go on injured reserve. He's another first-round pick, of course. Going back to the run, like we said before, I mean, they got beat. They got destroyed in the game. It's not just about one play, 2 plays. I wrote an article about 5 plays. There was a lot of plays that they needed to go right. But the fumble from Tony Pollard, I mean, that was a decent run around the left edge. I mean, he kind of hit the hole and he kind of hit a gear, got to the outside and got to the sideline and was, had the ball moved in his left hand. He did it all right. And then it got knocked out. And not only did it get knocked out, I mean, that ball that had eyes on it. I mean, there's a cliche. Well, the ball just didn't bounce their way. Well, it just didn't. I mean, that's unbelievable for that thing to stay in bounds like that. I mean, you do that and you get it punched down that sideline, it's going to go out 25 times out of 26. But it didn't right then. And that's just kind of indicative of how the game went. But my point is that, that it was a decent run around the side, and that's, something that could kind of open up their defense a little bit. Unfortunately for the Cowboys, it not only did it end up in a fumble, but one that just miraculously stayed there. Now, the 49ers did not score off of that. They did not. The Cowboys ended up getting a fumble in the next drive, but didn't do anything, had to punt short field, and they did a trick play, touchdown, or and then from then on it was uphill. All right, let's go to Jeff in Upper Marlboro, Maryland. Jeff.
How you doing, Nick?
Good, man. How are you?
Great. I was glad I could meet you while I was down there.
Yeah, I saw you the other day out there. Yeah.
Yes,
good
sir.
seeing you.
Yeah, man, really good. So, all right, so let's talk about where we really are with these guys. And I'll try not to go too spiritual, but everybody loves a good comeback story, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we know that when each one of the players can play at their highest level of skill, they can beat anybody. And the most disappointing thing about this game last week was they seemed to be playing at their lowest level of skill. So if now I'm going to make this appeal to people that believe that prayer does something. If you can remember what happened with Hamlin at the beginning of the year, dead on the field, and people prayed everywhere because they didn't know what else to do. And it was a statement that God says, I'm involved in a lot more things than you think I am. And a stupid prayer would be pray that God help the Cowboys to always win. That'd be stupid. But a wise prayer would be, God, help these guys to perform at their peak level of efficiency, because every player wants to do that. And as you know, many of the players have faith that God can do that. So we need to help them. and specifically exercise these demons that come out of the 49ers effect. And if they can get past that 49er mentality that's stuck in their mind that they lost, if they can get past everybody else some kind of way or be competitive with some help in prayer, watch what happens. Just remember what happened on the field with Damar Hamlin. That's all I wanted to say, man.
All right. Well, I appreciate. Thank you so much for the call, and obviously everyone has their own perspective there. I believe in that. I believe in the power of prayer. I mean, I'm not saying that everyone does, but especially in their own way and doing it the wise way, like Jeff said, because you got to remember, There's two sides to everybody. Two sides to the field, two sides to the ball. Both teams are out there playing it, and I think that's something that. And I'm going to kind of go off on a different tangent here, but I think a lot of fans that have never played football, especially at the NFL level, they don't really understand the mindset of these guys that go out there, and when they see a Damar Hamlin situation. One of the scariest things that's ever happened on the field. When they see that kind of stuff, it's a reminder of every single play of how dangerous the sport is and how things can change in a second. And so when the game is over, even though the fans are upset, they're throwing their jerseys off or burning them or whatever, mad about this team, the players kind of have a different mindset. The game's over. Yeah, they're upset by the loss or whatever, but you don't always see it the same way. That's why they do, the jersey swap and they laugh and joke on the sideline or in the middle of the field. And it bothers a lot of people. I mean, but you have to remember the players have a different kind of mindset when it comes to that. So, all right, let's go to the calls. Ronnie in New Jersey. Ronnie.
Hey, good morning, Nick.
Good morning. How are you?
Not too bad. Nick, going back to this game, who do you hand the blame on more, the players or the coaching staff? Because honestly, I think the players, they seem like they were ready for this game. But when it came to the coaching, we got out-coached. I mean, the game plan this guy had from the 49ers, it was a great game plan. And all we talked about was about the great coaching we had. And we didn't see no in-game adjustments, and that's what we thought we were going to get when we had McCarthy calling the offense now. And going to McCarthy, wasn't it always said that if you're going to be calling the plays, you got to be installing the plays? But he has an offensive coordinator installing the plays, and then he's calling the game. Wasn't that the reason Jason Garrett had issues? I'll hang up and listen.
All right.
Thanks, Nick.
Everybody does it differently. I mean, McCarthy he does have Brian Schottenheimer as the offensive coordinator. There's some people that think that's kind of more of a title. I mean, the play caller is the one that obviously Mike's calling the plays, but they do work hand in hand from my understanding about installing the plays and just kind of organizing what the game plan is going to be. I know Mike, it's not like he just comes in on Sunday and said, all right, what are we working with here? We're gonna do this. Okay, cool. I don't think that's the case. I'd like to think he's a lot more hands-on than that. But putting the blame on the coach and the players, I mean, it's both. It is both. And that's not a cop-out answer. Nobody did well. I mean, the players got to go out and execute, and they didn't. They couldn't block. They couldn't block these guys up front. They were getting knocked off the ball. I mean, you can't tell me that every single one was just them not being prepared. They got outplayed as well. And Micah Parsons went out and said, he's been pretty vocal about his, where he stands on things, and kind of said he gave a lot of credit to Kyle Shanahan for having them prepared. And if you could look at it and think maybe that was a shot or whatever, but I look at it and say if McCarthy would have said, hey, we got outplayed, I don't know if that's a shot at the players. I think they got out-coached. I think they got outplayed. I think they got out-hit. I think they got out physical. I think the mindset was better for the 49ers. I mean, they were jacked up for the game too, but they used it to help them. So any way you slice it, I mean, if you want to blame anything, you would be right in this one. So that's kind of the way it went down. All right, let's go to the next caller. We got Steve in New Jersey. Steve, what's up?
Hey, Nick, love you on the break, man.
Thank you. Not here anymore. Not there anymore, but yeah.
I know. You did a great job. Nick, I'm going to bring some negativity to the show and reality in my sense. I've been a Cowboy fan forever. I'm 55. When I listen to other shows, Nick, and I hear Jesse, Brian, Barry, all these guys saying that Dak has problems, reading coverages, that's troublesome for me. When Dak's going into it's his 8th year already. If this was Justin Fields, I wouldn't mind. He's only been in the league 2 or 3 years. This is 8 years for now, and he's always doing the same thing. They brand new offense around him. Everything is always Dak friendly, and Dak always seems to just, put him in and make bad throws. I don't know, Nick. I don't think it's ever going to get better, and we're only fooling ourselves if we think he's going to get better. And it's going to kill us, when this guy's making $60-65 million a year, because he's not that good, Nick, to make other people better like Jerry thinks he is.
Okay. I mean, that's thanks for the call. I mean, I'm not. You're obviously, your opinion is right. I said that yesterday. I said that. I'll say that every day. Your opinion is right. I think there's something to be said for the fact. I mean, there's his play can be worrisome. I mean, let's just call it what it is. I mean, he's and he stands up there and says the same thing. I got to be better. Well, then let's be better. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, and I get it. I get the frustration. I get it because you do look at the game and see the throws that the other guy's making, and you think that's not something that the Cowboys are doing. They don't have that. They don't have that guy. Purdy made a lot of throws, 19 yards, 22 yards over the middle and over the linebacker, but under the safety. It's not an easy throw. It's not an easy play to make. You have to trust a lot of things. You have to trust your arm. You have to trust that the blocking's there. You have to trust the receivers making the right route. And you got to be on the same page. And so that's where I think the 49ers had a big advantage on just being on the same page with their guys and their offense. Obviously, this is not a new system for them. But yeah, I mean, Dak has got to be better than this. And if he's not going to be, then that's something the Cowboys have to figure out. I mean, after 8 years, you say it is what it is. It's never going to be better. You could go. I've heard plenty of quarterbacks say that's not the case. They will say that things changed in their career to get them better. I mean, Romo says it. Romo was 9 years into the league and said he kind of figured things out from a throwing motion and things like that. And that's why, his injury was really tough on him because, he kind of felt like he was kind of getting into the mode where he understood things way differently. I know Breeze, Brady, those guys, they've found things in their career to kind of help them and extend things. So I don't believe that it's a situation where you're 8 years in and you're just not going to get better. I don't believe that. But also you want to see it, though. You want to see these guys getting better. So the Cowboys are in a tough situation. I mean, they're going to be here, I think, next season, next offseason, have to figure out this is the guy that they love. He's a leader. And are they? Can they get enough guys around him to help him? And as it stands right now, it's just it didn't work the other night. It's a 3-2 football team. But I'm not going to sit here and say let's make decisions for the offseason because the narrative's going to change in about 5 days. It'll change next next Tuesday. We'll probably be talking about something different. So that's why just to sit here and say, well, that was, this is what the season is. I just don't think that's accurate because it's not. It's going to change. All right, we're going to take a break. Let's take a break here, Cowboys Storyline. We'll be right back with more calls and text messages.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Cowboys fans, after that move, we've just coined the term Rowdy Replay. Let's roll back the tape.
Okay, there's our mascot Rowdy cheering on the boys. And now he's on his phone, on his Bank of America mobile banking app?
Staying on top of his finances with his virtual financial assistant, Erica.
Bank of America's digital tools are so impressive. Cowboys fans just can't stop banking. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/can't-stop-banking.
Erica is only available in the English language. You must download the latest version of the mobile banking app, only available on select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. Member FDIC.
Welcome back into Dear Doctor, the show where I answer life's questions with an ice-cold can of Dr. Pepper. Sheila, let's hear from our next caller, would you?
Dear Doctor, my friend supported me during a tough time, but what's the right gift that says, thanks for being a shoulder to cry on?
Okay, this one's easy. I say give her a delicious Dr. Pepper. Nothing says, thanks, girl, better than a one-of-a-kind soda. Yes, any Dr. Pepper flavor will do. Now, just a reminder that I don't need to be a real doctor to know that Dr. Pepper is the one you deserve.
They say champions are remembered, but legends are never forgotten. United Ag and Turf offers a winning lineup of John Deere equipment built to tackle any challenge on and off the field. Legendary John Deere tractors, combines, residential mowers, commercial mowers, compact construction equipment, Gator utility vehicles, and a full line of golf and sports turf equipment. United Ag and Turf, the official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com to find a location near you. Back to Cowboys Storylines.
All right, welcome back to the Storyline. We've got more questions here, questions from the text line. Got a couple of calls on the line, too, we'll get to. Let's start with the text. Paul from Vancouver, he says, with the injury to C.J. Goodwin, do you anticipate Nashawn Wright being active, and could that lead to more Deron Bland in the slot? I think Deron Bland and Jordan Lewis will both. I mean, I don't know if that injury. Goodwin doesn't really play corner. I mean, doesn't affect that. Now, if you're saying that Sean Wright being active, he's got to be off of the injured reserve, which I believe he can do that now. This is week 6. So yeah, I mean he's eligible to do that. That would be, he'd probably be a special teams guy. He could play some on defense. They're going to have Igbenogany is also going to get a lot of reps at corner. So I think Nashawn Wright maybe could have a spot on the roster and help with special teams, and then of course just be another guy. That would give them more cornerback depth because they don't play Goodwin at corner, so it'd have more game day depth at the position, which is good too. But it's going to be tough to replace C.J. Goodwin on special teams for the things that he does. So that won't be easy there. All right, another text question. This is just from no name, but the 609 area code. It says, do you think the pass routes need to be deeper? I think the 3-yard routes are killing this offense. I wish they would work the middle of the field, 8 to 15-yard range. I think that's kind of what the last caller was sort of talking about, or I did. I mentioned it just about his frustrations with Dak. Those are the type of throws, you need to be reading the defense much better when you're making those kind of throws. But I think that's what is hurting this team right now is the fact that they don't have the receivers. They don't have the Dolphins receivers where these guys are just running track. Like they don't have that kind of stuff. They got speed, but I don't know if they have this elusive playmakers that can take 2 to 3 yard screens or the bubbles and all that, and then make guys miss in the open field. They don't really have that type of player. So the ball definitely needs to go down the field a little bit more, and they're just not balanced. They're not balanced. When you don't run the football, it's going to be tough to throw it as well. So they have to figure out some balance here. I think, I think Rico Dowdle needs to have a little bit more in the running game. I just think they have to lessen the load for Pollard. Let's try it differently, because Pollard has never been this guy, and I think that he just needs to have run in spurts a little bit more than what we're seeing. So at this point, you just got to try different things. When you ask someone to do something they haven't done before, and then it's not working out that great, I think it's not too early to say let's alter the plan just a little bit. I think Rico Dowdle could get a few more carries, and then every time he's run the ball, he seems to run it with efficiency. All right, on the phone lines, John in Akron. John, you're up.
Good morning, Nick. How are you?
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing great. My question is, do the coaches watch other teams' coaches? We have a problem getting the guys open. The guy from the Rams, the guy new rookie, he didn't cut 500 yards of passes. Cup come back, just came back off IR. He caught a dozen passes over 100 yards. Do they ever watch and see how these guys get open? Do they ever try to copy these guys or anything? We see they do the same thing over and over. Everybody else can get open, all kind of innovative plays. None of our guys, we do the same thing. How do these guys get open?
Yeah.
You ever watch them?
I'm sure, yes. I mean, everybody watches the league. They have scouts. There's scouts that watch every team. They have scouts that are appointed to every team. So, yeah, I mean, they're definitely watching other teams and giving reports. Now, how much they're using it, that goes. I don't have the answer for that. But it is a copycat league. I mean, we saw it the other day. I mean, Cowboys are they do seem to take longer than other teams to start copying stuff. I mean, I know there was a point where everybody in the league was running rub routes and things like that, picks. And the Cowboys finally decided to do that a little bit. They haven't done it that much lately. But yeah, I mean, it also comes down to the players too. I mean, they drafted that offense, like on the Rams, they acquire route runners. That has to happen in their system, and that's what Cooper Kupp does so well. I think the player you're talking about is Akua. He's been outstanding as a rookie, but they do have really good, crisp route runners that help with that. But I mean, yes, they've got to figure this out. Then that's what the next 2-3 weeks are. This game, and then of course you get the bye. They have to figure out ways to get these guys open. That's plain and simple. And I don't care if it's stealing other teams' plays or whatever. They have to figure this out. Brian Schottenheimer and Mike McCarthy together, they've been coaching in this league for almost 50 years combined. They've been in a lot of different systems. Schottenheimer's been on like 12 teams, it seems like. He's been in a lot of offenses. He's got to be able to help figure this out, and McCarthy as well. So that's got to happen. All right, Rob in Vegas is next. Rob, what's up?
Hey, Nick.
How you doing?
The league talks about parity, but parity doesn't really exist in the NFL because at the end of the day, if you don't have a top 10 quarterback, you can't win a Super Bowl. You look at the last 20 years, who was winning? Mahomes, obviously, Brady. And unfortunately, Dak isn't top 10 anymore. I think I got him like at 13th. I mean, he's been passed. He's not the best quarterback in our division. Hurts is. So we lost that advantage. And I think they thought, well, this defense is going to be so good that our offense doesn't have to be as good. That's almost impossible in today's NFL with the way the rules are set up. If your offense, without getting turnovers, let's not count turnovers, let's not count punt returns. If your offense cannot score at least 23 points by itself, it's hard to win in this league because the teams with good quarterbacks are going to put up 28-30. And I think Monday's going to be a tough game because I think Herbert is just way better than Dak Prescott. I think the quarterback gap used to be tight with us. We used to always have Dak was the best quarterback before Hurts. He was the best quarterback in the NFC East. So we could lean on that. We can't lean on it anymore. So we're not getting any help from him, and he's regressed. I hate that we put it all on him, but let's be honest. It's the most important position on the team. And they decided to make him a drop-back quarterback. They took away what he was best at, and that was using his legs combined with the arm. And I don't know why they did that. I don't know if it's because once they wrote that big check, they said, well, we don't want this guy to get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But they need to go back to that. You need to call plays that doesn't give him the option. Because we see it. He was doing I think you may even talk about he was faking the ball like he was going to do an RPO. He never held it once. So the 49ers were like, this guy's not going to run. And he does it all the time where he fakes the RPO, but he never actually keeps it. So I think they need to take that option out and say, no. Here's the play call. It's a run. It's a quarterback draw. It's whatever to get him going because he's just not good as strictly a passer, and especially in this offense.
Yeah.
They're making him now trying to read defenses, never his strength. He doesn't have a great arm. He's not very accurate. Can he get better, like you were saying? Sure. But here's the problem. They don't have time for him to get better.
Right.
You're in your prime right now with Micah, CD. You're young, but you're old in certain positions. This is the time. Last year was the time. This year's the time. By the time he figures it out, unfortunately, like Romo, by the time Romo figured it out, his body said, I'm done.
Yeah.
So you got to strike now. And I just think this is probably or should be the last year with Dak because you see what Brock Purdy does at $800,000. We've seen what – I forgot something I was reading yesterday. The only quarterback that won with a max contract, a Super Bowl, was Mahomes in the last, 15 years. Everybody else was on a rookie deal. So you got to get to the Super Bowl. You got to.
Right. You just made your own point. I agree with you, but you just said, when you said earlier about nobody's making top 10, none of these, teams are making it to the Super Bowl unless they have a top 10 quarterback. But I think it goes the other way. I think you go to the Super Bowl, you become a top 10 quarterback. I think you get viewed in that regard because your team is in the Super Bowl, and whether or not you're the reason for it or not. The only exemption from that would be Garoppolo a few years ago when he got in. But I think the Eagles are really good, and Hurts is a reason for that. Hurts is now all of a sudden up there because they've gone to the Super Bowl, and so you get viewed that way. This team can ride the defense if they can figure this out and get hot, win some games. If they beat the 49ers last year in the playoffs and they get to the championship game, and who knows if they win. Then Dak's a top 5 quarterback, just like that, and he hasn't changed anything. But I just think it's a perception deal. So, no, he hasn't gotten there, so he gets moved down. Players that, Burrow, they got there. So he's now top 5. Right or wrong, but that's kind of the way it is. So let's don't act like they get rated and then they go perform. They go perform and then they get rated. You ask Nick Harris, who used to work at Rivals and recruiting, and I guarantee you, when you talk to a player and it's maybe a 3-star and he's got Nick Saban on the phone who wants him, he probably becomes a 4-star or a 5-star pretty quick. That's sort of the way that it goes. So I get what you're saying, though. Kind of went off on a tangent on that. But yeah, Dak's got to be a football player again. That's what has to happen. I say it 1,000 times, but they got to make him a football player. And if that means he needs to run more, then he needs to run because he's got to be that guy. He's got to go out there and be a player that runs the ball, not afraid to die for it and go make plays. Just let it loose. That's the only thing he can do. That's what got him here in college. That's what got him, to having success. He's got to be that guy. And if they're going to have him stand back there, or if he's going to stand himself back there and try to throw passes, they'll be limited in what they do, what they throw, because that's not him. That's never been him. He's a guy that has to get on the move. He has to be diving for first downs, sliding, whatever it takes. Can't worry about anything that's happened in the past. He's got to go play football. Once he does that, gets the rhythm going, I think he becomes a better passer. I think he passes the ball on the run. I think his confidence is a lot better. I think the receivers have more confidence in him. but it's got to start with the mindset of you got to go let it hang and you got to go win. You got to go play. He's got to be that guy again. And if that happens, then I think this team will rally around him a lot more. But right now, he can't just stand in the pocket and make throws because that's, like everyone is saying, that's not his strength. All right, Ed in Louisiana is next.
Hello, how you doing?
Hey, good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Got a big game coming up.
Yep.
If we can get to 4-2, then we're probably about where most people thought we would be at the bye. Still got a shot at the division. You still got positive stuff to look forward to. 3-3, we probably in a dogfight to end the season to get in as a wild card. And but I think they're going to bounce back. I think they're going to be ready to go.
Yeah, Ed. I mean, what do you think? What do you think has to happen? What's the one thing that has to happen for this team to get there?
Just stay focused and disciplined, stay together, and just play to their ability. I mean, they got the talent. They just got to get out there and just do it. And you can't listen to the outside noise. You just got to focus on the task at hand. And this week, you got to prepare for everything because Kellen's going to be dialed up.
Yeah.
He got plays probably in the summer he's been drawing up. And he's probably going to have the first play of the game. You can write it down. Your favorite play, the flea flicker. He's going to call it.
If that happens, they will lose. I'm going to tell you right now. Thanks for the call, Ed.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you, man.
If the Chargers come out and do that kind of stuff, I think that they'll lose the game. I think they're going to lose anyways. They've had a couple of weeks though. I'm sure this worked perfectly for Kellen. They're getting guys back. They got 2 weeks to look at the Cowboys and look at what the 49ers did and try to dial up some plays against them. But I think this is the biggest game of the year. I mean, I'm sorry, there's no other way to slice it. This is the biggest game of the year for what we think the Cowboys can be. It's not must win. It's not do or die. If they don't win the game, they'll be 3-3 going into the bye, and they'll try to figure things out themselves and try to scratch and claw and get back up there. But I think for being the type of team that you want to be, you be 4-2 and 3-3 just seems very, very different, especially with the 2 weeks to think about it. So I think this is one of the biggest games in the regular season the Cowboys have had in a long time, bigger than the one last week, in my opinion, because of where you are and what you have to do. Now everyone's looking at each other kind of sideways, like the last caller just said. You got to stay together. Easier said than done. Easier said than done. When you have certain things in the locker room being said, you can just kind of tell of the tone. I did my thing. If that's being said in the locker room, if that's being said in front of the cameras, you know that stuff's going on in the locker room as well. This is where Mike McCarthy has done well. He's done well with rallying after a loss. And that's you can't say that he's not good at it because they're 10-1 in their last 11 losses of the next week, and they come out and they play really good football. That needs to be 11-1. This is the biggest one that they've got to bounce back. If not, this could be a long season. If they don't bounce back this week against the Chargers, then now we're going to start looking at it going, what's the problem? Now you got 2 losses in a row. Now the offense that the coordinator that you let go now just beat you. So it's a lot of pressure on this game. There's pressure on both sides of the ball, but it's why they play it though. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right. Appreciate it. Thanks for all the calls. We got 10 calls here on a Wednesday. Thanks for Chris Beam running the board. I'm Nick Eatman. We will see you tomorrow on Cowboys Storyline.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!